Good afternoon, and welcome back to Favorite Cheese. On today's podcast, we
haven't even recorded it. I'm like, what are we gonna?
What are we gonna talk
we're
about?
gonna
pretty
talk
cool.
about.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
Let
please
me
tell
know.
me. Oh, interesting. AC's off. It was on, but apparently we found out that Lee's auditory thing is more than
My auditory processing.
yeah, like because
journey.
she's like, I need music or sound to clean, but if I have music or sound on in the back, I cannot be funny.
Well, it's like it felt like a weird little hum, and I was like, my brain felt like I don't know, scrambled eggs.
See, like if
I think a lot of people will relate to that. I
Maybe.
really do.
When I go
really
to your
do.
parents' house, it's in the middle of nowhere and there's no sound.
Yeah.
I can't sleep with no sound. But
Sure.
like if I'm by a freeway, ooh, nice. I'm like, ooh, that sounds
It's
like the
sound of
ocean.
the ocean.
Yeah,
Car
yeah,
ocean.
Yeah, the car ocean. And here I'm like, oh man, if there's not a big like military grade helicopter that
That's
flies
what it is.
10 feet
Also,
over our apartment.
I think you're
then,
on a different side, and it's just literally like in my head, and I was like,
yeah,
I
well,
couldn't think straight.
it's okay.
I'm losing my mind.
Well, welcome back.
Ugh,
Favorite cheese. Welcome back to California.
I know.
We both I did the double whammy. You know, when you're finding ways to complain
Sure.
in your everyday life and you got a lot of good stuff going on,
Yeah.
I suggest going on a double whammy all in horrible vacation.
Okay.
And that goes like this. You go to a horrible place,
Sure.
have a horrible time. And this wasn't a horrible. It was just like this is the idea.
Okay.
Go to a place you don't really like.
Yeah.
That's
it's super hot. And
super hot
yeah.
and super weird, and makes you really miss your home.
Yeah.
Then you get home and then you're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
everything is good. Like the heat was fine.
Yeah.
Everything else was fine because like it was so bad in the South. I wasn't used to that
Yes.
kind of heat. And it just makes you appreciate everything.
There you go. So that's New Year lease on life?
Right when that's coming down,
Sure.
send your wife away. Okay? Send her to do something she needs to do. So she went to go hang out with her sister and nieces.
Yeah, I was in Texas for the last week.
And then while that happens, take in a dog to dog sit.
Yeah.
And make sure that the dog has a lot of anxiety and barks at everything.
Sure.
So
sure.
you can't leave the house
You're stuck
for
in here,
your
baby.
entire vacation.
Yeah.
Drives you crazy to where you're like, wait a minute, I miss my wife so much and I appreciate her and I need her here to be with me. And then now it's like, you can do no wrong. It's like, sure, the world seems to be ending. Sure, actors and writers are on strike. Heat waves. Maybe I'll never be able to afford a house. All this stuff. But right now, I'm just so happy you're back.
You're just happy I'm home.
And I'm happy to be alive.
This is
and
good.
No, it is good.
I think it's a good. It's a
traumatize
perspective.
yourself.
Yeah.
So that things don't look so bad.
Wow. It feels like a little bit of work in order to get there,
Well,
but I don't
think
mind that.
if you're in a funk, and this is just me maybe,
Sure.
but like, because I'm not a certified therapist, but
I don't even think you're anything before a certified
I'm an
therapist.
uncertified therapist.
I don't think you should say that. I don't think you have the. I really don't think
I'm
you should.
uncertified.
Please stop saying that.
No, but
no,
for me,
certified
and I'm
first.
not even a normal person, which I've realized like after like
Through therapy.
well, not just that, but just like my thoughts. I'm always
Sure.
like, yeah, this is how everyone thinks, and then
And
you're
then
like,
I was like,
I guess
no.
not, because anyway. So in my weird world, if I get stuck in that never-ending loop,
Sure.
the for loop, if you will,
Sure.
I something has to change, right?
Got it.
And so for me, I was feeling stuck, and so made some changes. July was a crazy.
July felt like a
Crazy.
bit of a feral month, like you
Yeah.
said. So give a little recap, I was in Texas for the last week.
Texas.
I hadn't seen my sister since pre-pandemic, and they made a lot of changes where like they moved and this, that, and it wasn't for lack of trying. There was a bunch of times where like stuff synced up where I was like, oh, I can come here, and she was like, I can't. And then she was like, what do you think about this? And I was like, we're out of town. And so there's a bunch of things that like, and even Christmas and holidays, like those were kind of by the wayside just because of A, B, and C. So it had been years since I'd seen her and my nieces.
Well, like they moved right during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And so they moved And we basically, I mean, as anyone listening to this knows, like we went into the cave for your safety, and they did too.
They did too, exactly.
And
it's interesting too, because it's like we do catch up obviously with like texting, and that is one thing that I do love about like modern technology, because you're still FaceTiming, you're still doing all those things. But
I like Jurassic technology, pigeons.
Pigeons. We're still sending pigeons, you know, and some of them did not get to him.
They did not make it.
Bad news. Do not think Magnolia's gonna come back. She's gone. She's gone.
Yeah.
No, you still like catch up obviously, but I hadn't seen them in person in years.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it was just like any other time. And I don't know if it's that for everyone, but for us, especially like me and my sister, it feels just like, hi, how are you? I love you. And it always like settles immediately right back into, you know,
any
everything.
good friend, it's going to be
well,
like
that. And it's like, you know, and we've always been that way where, because she is a pretty decent amount older, not like massive, but she's like 7 years older. So every time, like when she was leaving the house, I was on the cusp of like teenager. And when she was here, like when she was getting married, I was on the cusp of like college and like all these things. So she's lived a very like
it's a big gap.
further gap life, you know. So she was in North Carolina, I flew out there. She lived in Hawaii, I flew out there. You know, there was a bunch of different places that she's lived in, so every time it's usually like me going and visiting and then
of course
falling right back into routine.
It's easier for one person to visit than her to move a family of like 4 and
100%. And so I went out there and it was really cute and really sweet. It was Texas, so it was also like 110 degrees. And like the moist heat.
It's the moist. But we had the moist here too.
No, you did not.
No, I was just in Memphis. I know about the moist.
No, I don't mean that. I just mean like it's different.
Yeah, no, it's different.
It is just a different heat.
It's different.
Because you walk out and it just hits you like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
And you're just breathing in and you're like, I feel like I'm going to pass out. And it was, that didn't mind. I didn't like mind that so much as because we just truly were like, we're in this building and then we're gonna walk a little bit and go into this building with air conditioning and then go into this. That's what it was. Like 24/7 was just like going to different buildings with AC.
The difference is your sister has a car, so you can drive there. Like me and my cousin were literally like, let's walk 2 miles.
No, that's insane. That's unhinged. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah, it was too much.
But no, it was like so sweet. And the girls are at like a really fun little age where one of them is truly tweening, and so she's, you know, like on a phone and talking about her best friends, and like the whole thing that we were doing was like going shopping for clothes, and I was the really cool aunt. And this is where I'll say that, like, thank God for social media for me, because I knew all the terms. And so I was real cool because I knew like what cottagecore meant, and I went what like OOTD meant, and so I was
I mean, I would have gotten that one.
It's not a competition. I'm just saying.
These aren't like hard. How out of touch?
Her mom is like, I'm a doctor, so I don't care, kid. You know,
my outfit is scrubs every day.
It's so funny because there would be times where she'd be like, "Oh, mom, blah 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 blah," and my sister would be like, "I don't know about that. I don't like it. Moving on." And you're like, oh, she's just not in the zone of like social media, so she doesn't get it. But here I am, and they're like, you have a TikTok? You're the coolest person alive.
So cool. I'm gonna follow you.
I mean, truly, I got in with showing them TikTok filters on their faces, and we did that for about 6.5 hours.
Yeah. Well, it's fun. I mean, like,
so much fun.
We were playing cards, and you're like, that's fun. But if you could just like have a mustache or like change your hair purple that.
There's one that's like Shrek, and they put Shrek everywhere. They took Shrek and put Shrek every single place around the house. They were like in love. And so, you know what? It was so much fun. We did little shopping because they had to go to school. So we're picking out school outfits for, you know, my one niece. And then my other niece, she was like, she's 7.5, and she's the smartest, oldest 7.5-year-old you've ever met in your entire life. And so she's just very like, I know exactly what's happening, and I'm very intelligent, and no one can get anything past me.
Shut up, you're 7. You don't know anything.
No, I mean, she's impossible to get things past. Like we were dumb, and we were like trying to spell words to talk about stuff, and she was like, why are you talking about whores? And we're like, hilarious. Okay.
Well, that's when you got to learn a secret language.
I know, that's what we said. We were
my mom and I would do the double talk thing, and then there's Swedish, you know.
I know, that's what I told Sarah. I was like, you might have to teach her because she's so smart. I was like, teach her another language. But
but then you guys can talk crap on. But that's the problem is like,
I know
we should all, you know, that's why it's important to try and create a family secret language.
I love this.
Whether
I love this.
it's like Swedish, Hebrew. I mean, a lot of people are speaking that one, you know? So it's like,
this is true.
you got to pick a language that not a lot of people speak.
That you can
or
like
you gotta
just
invent
like
it.
say stuff in. But
Yeah.
the fun thing was like, yeah, we went shopping, we did all that fun little stuff. It was just hanging out. It was like playing. One of them is super into like the tween zone,
Yeah.
and then the other one is still in the play era, which I live for. You know, I love it so much because for me, it's just like, I don't know. I just get to like improv for 4 hours a day with this kid. And so I like would be characters and was doing weird voices and all these different things, which she absolutely loved. And then I was like making melodramas with her, and she was like super on board with it. And she's got good play. She really does.
That's fun.
But there was an instance where we went to a toy store.
Yeah.
And I told you this already, but we went to a toy store and there was a puppet. She kept calling it the puppet store. There was a puppet there that she had already seen a million times, and I guess he was left behind a bunch of times. She literally walks in, and she'd already told me when we were like brushing our teeth that she believes that all of her stuffed animals have souls.
Yeah.
And you know that I also am very much the other way. Like, I remember being 26 and my mom being like, I'm going to get rid of all these stuffed animals. And I like got really emotional. And she was like, hey, what's going on? I was like, I don't really know.
Like me and that couch.
Yes, 100%. You and the couch that we had to throw away. You bawled.
I had a lot of good memories on that couch.
I know. We know.
A lot of good friends slept over on that couch.
I know. Sometimes these things trigger us and we don't know why. Yeah. Emotions are very complicated.
I gave it away to that family, and I know those kids are having fun.
I made the mistake. There was a puppet there that she like had already seen a bunch, and I guess he was still there, and she like walks up and she's like, "You're still here?" And she still has her little like squeaky voice.
Oh yeah.
Which I know that's gonna go away, and I'm one of these days it's gonna go.
Why
and
not?
It's just gonna break my heart. No, it's just that little itsy bitsy voice.
Yeah.
And she literally was like, "You're still here? You haven't found a family?" And I was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna die."
Yeah.
I really thought I was gonna lose it. She's like, "You haven't found a family?" And like literally I made the big mistake of putting the puppet on and doing a voice. And then she's like, "Why don't you want to come home with me?" And I was like, "I don't know, blah, blah, blah." And she's like, "Why are you still here?" And I was like, "I guess no one wants me." Dumb move on my part.
Yeah.
And then she immediately goes and she's like, "Mom, I got to get this puppet. You don't understand. No one's here for him." Sister's really smart and has like, "Hey, this is your allowance. This puppet's too expensive." Like, she's trying to do the parenting thing, which is good parenting.
Doesn't work
of like,
out.
Sure, but it does, because again, it's like putting like, hey, things cost money. Money is real. I think it's really smart to do, because we've seen the opposite happen. For someone
who was raised with the fear of money, my therapist will say we can never. Right. So now I just bury it, and I have it, and I save up, and I never buy the puppet I want because I'm just holding on to the paper.
Okay, listen. So then, of course, it's the journey of like. She asks mom. Mom's like, "No, I'm sorry, it's way past your allowance." And then does the smart thing of like, "Hey, this is if on your birthday, which is like the year away, if she's like birthday or Christmas, if you still want it, of course I'll come back." And no, and it set her into like an emotional state. And my sister was like, "She's never been this she's never thrown an emotional fit on anything." Like, and she's like such a level-headed kid, but she had big emotions and she couldn't like do it. And I like literally had to go to my sister and be like, "Hey, I might have fucked up a bit.
Yeah.
I gave the puppet a voice and just talked about how he didn't have a family."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Okay, well, how do we deal with that one?" I was like, "I don't know. I'm sorry."
Yeah.
So, very long story short, we had to do the like, okay, I'm going to get the puppet for her. Auntie Lee's going to swoop in, yada, yada. Great. But there's rules, obviously. Rules being like, if you feed the puppet real food, it gets sick. I just could foresee that happening.
Yeah.
Don't know why.
Get that out of the
way. Puppets have to listen to moms was a really important thing.
Yeah.
So we got the puppet.
Yeah, because that could go bad real fast.
I'm telling you. I was like...
He's telling me that I need to smoke these and get in his car.
The rules that I put, I was like, look, if I get... Yeah. I named him Gruzz.
Yeah, of course.
Which
cousin
is
of Scuzz.
a cousin of Scuzz, a puppet that I already have, and it literally is just the exact
Yeah,
same
you're
voice.
like, I wasn't investing in this. You didn't give me time to workshop a new
didn't.
character.
I panicked. She was like, "What's your name?" I was like, "Gruzz."
yeah.
So then I bought the thing, but the whole time we're talking about adoption. She's been really into like adoption play where it's like, I'm gonna adopt you from the orphanage, yada yada. Don't know where she got it. It's cool though. But she literally was like, I'm adopting Gruzz and blah 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 blah. And then it was this whole thing. I literally was like, should we go ask him if he wants to come home with us? And I did the puppet like, I'll come home with you, full ball.
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm the like older lady like bawling in the toy store that I'm like, okay, let's bring the puppet home. And they're like, is she okay? Oh, okay, wow. And it's just me and her crying.
Have you not seen each other in a long time?
Has it been years since you've been together? Oh, okay, got it.
Is
We're
this
just
a big
crying
moment
at
for
Toy
you?
Story, huge moment for us. But the thing I will say is that I very much understand that. I was the kid that truly had such deep connections. I know you were too. We both were that like hypersensitive kid that was like, this is my best friend. And you're like, it's a stuffed animal. And you're like, it was my best friend.
Yeah.
You don't understand.
He's nicer than you, Jason.
Listen, man, I tell him my secrets and all of my stories.
Yeah, I told Copper, my dog growing up, all the secrets in the stories.
A little hypersensitive kid. I get it.
Yeah.
But she was that. And so cut to, it was a weekend of just absolute delight. Gruzz went everywhere with us. She was obsessed. The thing that I thought was probably the weirdest and most special thing about it was that, she'll talk to me plenty, but the weird, like, for lack of a better word, of intimacy between the puppet and her, like, it was her best friend.
Oh, yeah.
She was telling so many things. Like, normally she'd be playing Minecraft and not talking, and just kind of guiding me through it because I'd ask questions about it. And then with the puppet, she's literally building him a house and telling him 24/7 all these things. And she's like, when I go away to school, I'll come back and like, I'll tell you everything I learn. And like, we're best friends, aren't we? And I literally was like, this is, I don't know if I could ever parent without a puppet.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. I mean,
I was like,
the whole Mr. Rogers documentary, like he talks about that, like trying to figure out a way to get big messages to kids. And then for whatever reason, they found out that like the kids would talk so much more in make-believe and into these characters, and they just became like little adults and they were more open. Like, I don't know, maybe the kids are afraid that they're going to do something wrong, or that adults are, but it's like
that. I think it's just like kind of like a peer. Like it's like, it's the same as like when kids talk to other kids.
No, but I wouldn't talk. Sometimes I would, but like at any time, if you're like, says like, I would open up to everyone as a kid, and then Eric Cooper would always be like, shut up, idiot. And then you're like,
I don't know who that is, but
he was, he was some kid that picked on me.
Okay, I'm
sorry.
my
whole upbringing.
Hey, I'm sorry about your bullying.
I called him Eric Cooper, super duper pooper scooper in front of a bunch of kids.
Wow.
I earned my respect on those playgrounds.
Wow, Eric.
We were young.
Scooper?
I will say though, it's not even that clever. Miss Deborah like kind of came up for it because she saw him picking on me, and he cried a lot. So
that's what I'm saying.
He was pretty weak.
No, it's not about
it. Just someone standing up to him.
Domin, the bullies are always bullied. You know that, right?
Well,
like
not
that's
this
why.
one. We were in kindergarten. No one could have bullied this guy except his dad.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but
that's not my issue.
Home. Yeah, I guess so. I guess he was a pooper scooper.
He called me a Jew. We were in kindergarten. Most people didn't even know what that was.
Insane.
Yeah.
That's unhinged. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was not good.
Okay, but the thing that it was crazy was that it was just this weird, sweet little like, like Gruzz being this guy.
Yeah. And you were telling me about when you guys were checking out.
Yeah,
too.
We were checking out, and so it was.
And I was
like
along.
Emotional about getting this puppet at the toy store, and so because so was she. She was like crying, and she was like, "You're coming home with me, Gruzz," and oh my gosh, now you have a family, Gruzz, and I was like, "This is too much for me to take on," and so I was like being the puppet, and I was like asking, and I was like, being adopted, and I was like, "I'm being adopted today," like blah 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 blah, and then she was like, "Okay, well you have to sign the adoption papers," and it was the girl at the checkout stand, and it was just the receipt, which was so smart of her to be like, okay, just the signing of it. And then And then she was like, do you want to sign the receipt too? And then my niece was like, I don't have a signature. Because I was like, yeah, she's 7. And then I was like, well, I'll adopt him and then I'll transfer the adoption to you. And she's like, great, love it. We went home. We made like a huge adoption paper thing.
Fun.
It was a whole thing. And then the whole weekend was they made best friend t-shirts with puff paint.
Yeah, with puff paint.
They made best friend necklaces that had like the bee fry little heart necklace on it. This kid is set. She's in love. She's obsessed.
I mean, that's cool until she goes back to school and her human best friend is like, what happened? Like,
I know. He's like, wait, what? You're best friends with Gruzz? But I'm supposed to be your best friend. And She's like, no, sorry, it's Gruzz now. Well, and I even said, I was like, what's the hierarchy? And like, because all weekend she'd been like, Teddy's my best friend, yada, yada, yada. And then like Gruzz came in hot. He was like, she's like, Gruzz is my best friend. Probably going to be my best friend to the end of time. And I was like, oh, I've set something in motion now.
It's either going to be weird
it's going to be weird.
It's going to be bad. Yeah.
Well, and it was funny because she really
just be
did.
A nice spot in her memories. Like
there we go. That's all I want is like that. You know, that being said, I am late 30s and I still have a teddy bear on my bed that was that for me. But
my dad
it was a very funny.
Ruined all mine.
Listen, man.
What? Okay. Well, he wanted us to move on, so mine was like a blankie, so he polished his shoes with that. The other one he just gave.
This is so dark.
I do have some Beanie Babies hidden in the attic.
Yeah, I think you have a Princess Diana, so
they're not worth as much as people think.
No,
like,
of course they're not. Of course they're not.
But they will be.
No. Absolutely not. No, it was cool. And it was also like fun to set that little memory in motion. Also because she is such a sweetie sensitive girl, like to have all that weird little moment of like, I've never experienced anything like it where it's just, she completely forgot that I was there. And so then all the stuff that she's spilling out is just stuff that she thinks and isn't putting in this weird little like thing for me. She's not performing for me. She's not thinking that she's being anything that I want her to be. It's just truly her best friend Gruzz. And so
cousin
it was
of Scuzz.
I know, it really cousin of Scuzz. But it was such a special little thing. I really had never experienced anything like that. And that was like such a weird, wild thing that I was like, well, again, if I ever do become a parent, apparently I'm also becoming a puppeteer.
Well, yeah, why not?
Why not?
Mean, like all of the like kids that I was jealous of growing up, like their parents were larger than life, good storytellers.
They played.
Exactly. Like my grandma played. I have some uncles and aunts that played. You know, but it was just like I mainly played with my cousins and my grandma for the most part. And then like, you know, like I would do a crazy voice or something and my parents, what are you doing, bud?
Well,
like,
all right. Well, that's not how he sounds.
Yeah. Or like corrections like that's.
Well, and I was proud of like, I mean, my sister would never not, but I was like, she fully went along. She was like, all right. And she would like totally be a mom where she'd be like, you guys, Gruzz, get in here and clean this. So like the kid had to come clean with Gruzz, you know, or she'd be like, Gruzz, you're making a mess. Like that's enough. And I was like, it was a very funny journey through that, but it was just a sweet little thing to facilitate. Also not an expensive puppet for the amount of joy that it brought. I was like, man, that would get mildly addictive of just like, well, and we're on to another spark of joy.
Yeah, but then you're going to just have like a house filled with too many.
I know. Like, that's what I was thinking. I was like,
but that was one of those ones where it was like a big deal. And it's from an aunt and it's a memory.
I mean, truly that night there was a moment where I was like, oh, I got to stop crying. But there was a moment where she like was like tucking him in because she's making him a bed.
Yeah.
Because again, everything was that he'd never seen anything before. So it was like, she's like 100%. She's like, this is trees, Gruzz.
Well,
these are houses, Gruzz. This is this, Gruzz. You know, and she was like fully dark and fully adorable and just like, you're going to meet Dad, Gruzz. And it was like so cute. And she was like, I'm going to make you a bed. There's going to be blue things on it because he was blue. Yeah. And then she's tucking him in and she's like looking in his eyes. And she was like,
I love you.
Yeah, truly. She's like, hey, she's like, remember when we almost didn't come home with me because Mom said no, but then Auntie Lee came in and saved the day. And I was like, oh God. I'm gonna die. Yeah. You know, so fully like heart tug, and I was like, excuse me, like I had to excuse myself multiple times just to be like, okay, we're good, we got it. But it was the cutest thing I've ever experienced.
I know, you were telling me, and it's funny too, because like your sister and brother-in-law are very nice.
Oh yeah.
But they are like, you know, they're both serious, doctory, hardworking people. Like they know how to play, but like they're not a human cartoon like you.
No, but they're not going to do like insane weird voices. One of the
and I remember that as a kid. For me, it was like I was constantly being like this weird kid, and my parents just didn't know what to do with it.
Sure.
And so I also know that like when my grandma was around, who was able to go crazy with me, like when she took me to a toy store and then bought me something, it meant so much more because it was like something your parents would have probably said no on. You've been wanting it forever. Then you feel guilty that you get it. And then, you know, so it's like, I'm sure
there's all those big emotions.
A big thing. And the fact that you guys bonded so much of it, like, because she knows you were doing that as well. Like, she knows that. So it's like, in a way, her and Auntie Lee were hanging out and Gruzz was hanging out. But yeah, you were telling me and I was like getting emotional because meanwhile I'm here holding down the fort because I can't leave. That's another story. But like while you're like having all these amazing moments, I'm literally like in this apartment in the dark with the air conditioner on.
No one asked you to be in the dark. No one asked you to be in the dark.
Well, no, that's the only way to keep it cool.
Sure.
Like I have to keep the windows closed.
Yeah. You did. This has been the first time that I've been away that you've been like, hello, I love you. Hello, I miss you, I love you.
Well, I always miss you,
all,
but you were literally gone for like 3.5 days.
It was not long.
So it's like I normally am in the past. It's like, oh, this is good, or
I'll take a break. It'll be cool. It'll be chill.
Well, yeah, and it's like I did clean the house and I did do some stuff. I did work, but then when this dog showed up, he's a sweet guy. He's our friend's dog, and he means well, but he just has...
He's got anxiety.
He got some anxieties, and he's just not... This isn't his house.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he thinks he's confused and he's trying to like break out and like be mean to us and be like, give me back my mom. Like, I don't know if he thinks
Did you take my mom?
I don't know.
Give me back my mom.
I don't know if he thinks he's in like
if he's Liam. Yeah, it's taken when he's like,
I
don't know who you are or what you've done with my mom, but I will bark the entire time.
So he's doing, he's doing everything that he thinks he's in this movie. Because like literally like they all know each other. They get along fine. And our dogs do. Yeah. And they've stayed with him and his mom when we've gone to Europe and vice versa. But like this time it's literally like
he doesn't know what happened.
Yeah, so I tried to go outside to hang out with my neighbors for like 10 minutes and he's just like losing his ever-loving mind.
Come back, guy.
Yeah. So I bring him out then. I'm like, okay, cool. But my neighbor has his dog out there. Then he's like, I'm going to fuck this dog up and you. And you're like, okay.
That dog's a pit bull. You're not going to fuck that dog up.
Like, so then I'm like, got to take him back in. And so then it's like, okay, I can't go out. And I'm texting the owner. I'm like, is he always this crazy? And she's like, just like lock him up and go have fun.
I'm like, that's not how that works.
I couldn't do it because literally every time I do anything, he would just do the wrong thing. Like I'm literally taking a shower. I come out. He's broken into a bag of dog treats, and he's just eating them all. And you're like, Jesus Christ!
He's on one.
Then I literally do something, and I left something on the table, and then he's like, I'm gonna eat the soup.
I'm gonna eat the entire
Then I'm
bowl
gonna
of
chew
soup.
this.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna bite this. Then I'm gonna bark at this, and it's like. So finally, I got to a point where I'm like, I'm just not leaving. It's not a long trip.
Sure.
Like she'll be gone back in a few days. And then I'm like, I'll just sit here on the couch and I'll catch up because I got a big show coming up. So I'm getting back into stand up. So I'm like watching all these stand up clips, trying to stand up specials, trying to get back into it. I'm watching movies, TV. I'm trying to tell myself to take a break. But in my head, I'm like, this is awful. I should be working. But then it's like a bad drug trip where you're like, how long does this last? But you're like, I did learn a lot when I came out of it.
Sure. Yeah, of course. You're like, oh, it turns out that a lot of it stemmed from childhood.
Yeah. And so like, I'm definitely having cause I can't even move. Cause if I get up and move, he's coming around and he's
he's panicking. He's got anxiety.
I know. And
it's hard to be anxiety.
I know, but I'm just like waiting for you. And then I'm just like, I miss you so much. Cause I'm like, I know if you just were here.
I know.
And so then I even
was telling my brother-in-law, I was like, I think Dale's having a hard time. And he's very like attached to my sister as well.
Yeah.
And so he literally is like, yeah, I get it. He was like, yeah, I fully understand. He's like, if Sarah leaves her day, he was like, if she leaves for a day, I'm like gone. I lose my mind about it. And I was like, that's funny.
I get it. Cause it's like, I was talking to one of the neighbors about it and she's before the dog got here. because there was like a day when I had a normal
A
just
normal
no
day.
dogs. And she's like, oh, codependent. I'm like, no, not really. But I think the honest thing is like, I just assumed that this dog coming here would just join the pack and I'd be able to do like normal stuff because we've watched him before and he's been fine. It's just this time
he thinks you murdered his mother.
Yeah, he thinks that. No, that's exactly it.
He
He's
thinks
like
that you've taken
like
her.
I literally will go to bed before you got here and I'd wake up and he'd just be like breathing and staring at my face and like, you give me back
Get
my
me back my mum.
yeah.
Who the hell are you?
yeah.
Who you think you've done?
Yeah.
Get out of
and
here.
he's doing everything like I'll like put his
Where
foot-
is she?
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
eat this bag of treats.
yeah.
Oh, I'll show you. I'm gonna poop on your floor.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's gonna be mushy too.
Yeah, exactly. And so then like he won't even eat his own food. He's
No,
like
I
it's like
know.
a standoff. Where every time you go to walk, he's barking at everyone. He's like, "Oh, you like those neighbors? They respect
Yeah,
you." Not
I'm gonna
today.
embarrass the hell out of you.
Yeah,
You're not even gonna do
Yeah,
anything.
and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" Like people are crossing the street when they see me, and he's
You're
like,
I'm
"This doesn't have to
sorry.
happen." if
This
you just-"
isn't who he is normally.
I know. And so
I
then,
wonder
as
how we
you were,
can communicate to him. That,
and then
like, we
as you were
didn't-
saying, and I couldn't even go out to like get CBD or get anything. Like I couldn't even leave. So finally, I'm texting the mom, and she's like, "They're fine." Which is a whole other story because I think that maybe she just doesn't have neighbors that live as close or
Yep.
something. And so, or maybe our dogs just are fine in any situation where he thinks I stole or killed his mom. I went
You're
to,
lying, gun. I'm gonna bark to death.
yeah, exactly. So it was just really funny because then she's like, just go for it. So I go to LAX to pick you up.
Yep.
That's it. Just go to the airport, come back. I'm like, I'm driving the car like I stole it. I'm just like, like dad's, like I'm like, I'm free, baby. Like let the wind go.
I'm gonna go get my leave. I'm gonna go this.
She's coming back. No dogs. I'm out of the prison. I broke free, man. But then in the back of my mind, I'm like, I just hope he doesn't do something dumb because he's been doing like he's gotten me
He's
so many
gotten
times.
rowdy.
And then literally like right as we're about to go to Del Taco to have a victory lap.
The victory lap of Del Taco. Everyone knows that the Del Taco is a victory lap because
a
it's
big
not
one.
going to be just a normal every day. It's a victory lap,
Yeah,
that Del Taco.
Exactly. So I think we're going to go. I get a text from my neighbor, and it's not even like a complaint. It's more of like a worried, like, hey, man, everything cool?
Are the dogs being scalped to death in the other room?
Exactly. He's like, and I'm like, oh, is it cool? He's like, oh, yeah, they've just been going nonstop for like 2 hours and 45 minutes and 13 seconds, you know, like.
And you're like, good God. Oh,
yeah.
no.
And so then I'm like, instantly, like, that's exactly what I didn't want, but it's a good move if you think I killed your mom.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, because he's like, I'll get him back.
Hey.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
Help
scream
me,
a
help
mom.
me.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just gonna scream mom for 45 minutes.
Yeah. Mom.
Mom.
And then my dogs are like, shut up. But that's just barking at each other. So it's an endless circle.
It is a very funny
so
thing.
I'm literally like back to anxiety, and I'm like, we got to get home. No Del Taco, no anything.
Heartbreaking.
And so I text my neighbor back, and I you know, in my car, I have the hands-free thing. And so I'm literally like, I like press the button. I'm like, we're on our way. Don't worry.
Don't worry about it. We'll be there in
a few
22 minutes.
Yeah, everything's
Great.
fine. And he's like, no worries. I'm just checking in. And then like, I didn't realize it was still like transcribing. And I'm like, God damn it. There's dog. And I like go on this like rant and rave. And all of a sudden, like I like turn my phone back on and it's written out every single, I
It
mean,
was
not
pages.
right, but like,
Because you were like, you basically just told me what you did for 3 days. You're
Yeah,
like, I
yeah.
did this. I was trapped. I did this. I
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
go anywhere.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
And it
yeah,
wrote
yeah.
out every
it
single
wrote
thing
it all
you
out,
said.
and then I was like, fuck this, fuck that, you're cool, the whole thing.
Yep.
And then like I'm like walking to get home, and I'm like trying to send him like we're home now, but like I can't get it all, so I deleted a lot of it, but it sent him a message that was like,
It was pages.
something that like a psychotic person
Yeah, it was pages.
breaking up with
Because it was
you.
your like rant. It was
Yeah.
your like monologued rant.
Yeah, but it
of
also didn't,
what's
you
going
know,
on.
it's serious, so it's not like that
No.
good. It's like just jamming out.
And then
like,
the day of the-
factory. Yeah, like, yeah. Then my mom in there.
Yeah, I'm
she's-
trapped like a thing all day dark.
Help,
all day
help.
dark help.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Joseph? Question mark. You know, like you're like, what is happening? But anyways, luckily I was able to delete the text and everything was cool.
I still think he should have read it.
And then I think he might have, because it literally tells you, it's like if he hasn't updated, he still has that text. And I'm like, he seems like
100%.
the type of guy that's not updating.
Nah, he's got it.
Yeah, he's got it. He read it and he's like, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
He liked it. Yeah,
Yeah.
no. But then, as you were saying, like, open the door. It is barking, and just like a pile of shit right by.
Poop.
And I already stepped in one of his already that he did in here.
I'm telling you, he thinks that we did something. I don't know how to communicate to him that we didn't steal or scalp his
I think
mom.
he's now in the phase of his plan where he's like,
He's
okay.
pretending to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's like, all right, the bad part didn't work. So they brought in this crazy lady.
The crazy lady's back.
Yeah.
We know the crazy lady.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
back and she is
She's
hammering
been
the law
squirting me with
down.
a squirt gun every time I bark. You
Yeah.
know? So
I will. Don't think I won't.
So basically, I'm gonna pretend to be a good boy.
I know.
And then maybe Mama will come back. See, that's the hardest part about the dog thing. I just wish I could be like, hey, we've met 100 times. We've gone camping together.
Don't you wish
We're
we
good
could
friends.
have a convo and be
I
like,
am basically your uncle. I'm just looking out for you. You can trust
you
me.
got 3 days.
And he's just like, what did you say? I don't speak English.
I'm
Get
gonna
me
poop
back.
on your floor.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fight you with my box.
Yeah.
yeah. And you're like, okay, all right, man.
And then he just follows me around, but it's not
He
the
still loves you.
No,
He
it's
does.
not a follow around like I like you. It's like a follow around like what's up? What's up? What's up?
It's a full
Sup?
separation anxiety.
yeah.
He's on a tizzy.
Yeah.
He's in his zone.
And then
It's
Frank will like
okay.
try and be like, "We're cool, man. Are
She'll
we
be
cool?"
Like, come and lay next to me. Come here,
Yeah.
Frank. Lay
But
down.
anyways, that's see, we got a
You
snarl.
got it?
Yep.
Snarl?
Yep, got a snarl. I'm no Caesar Milan, and I'm I did the opposite. Like I probably could have like done some behavioral stuff, but I was like, not my dog.
Not
my
my
wife's out of
circus,
town.
not my monkeys.
I was like out of town. I was like, I'm just gonna give up.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna.
good
I'm
for
not.
you.
I was like, I'm gonna keep my head on a swivel,
Uh-huh.
and I'm gonna just watch every single episode of Tiny House Hunters.
And then you were telling me you watched Tiny House Hunters and a really weird, like, very weird, dark horror documentaries. And I was like, why would you do that when you're alone in a house?
Well,
That's insane.
I actually had to tell our neighbor. I was like, she told me to watch one of them, and it was so scary that I had to turn it off after the second episode. I
Yeah.
watched the rest the next day,
no.
but yeah, it was scary.
Yeah, I bet.
I don't know. I already am afraid before I go to bed every night, so it's like,
Wow.
what's the difference?
Truer words
Like,
have
will
never
I
been
wake up?
spoken.
Will it be okay tomorrow? Good night.
You're like, could I be followed by a homicidal maniac that's only going after people with curly hair? Yeah, I
and
get
that's
it.
fine. But now I have 3 dogs.
There you go. There we go.
Anyways, so we're glad you're back.
Oh,
and,
good.
But what I will say is, it's been very, very, very lonely without you. And it was like, that was one of the things too. It's like, you know, sometimes it's like you just want your own space.
Sure,
but
I'm
then,
totally.
Yeah,
I
but
get
then
that.
sometimes you're just like, I don't even know. Like, I have a few friends that have had kids. I have other friends, you know, and it's just like,
Did you not know necessarily what to do
I didn't
with
make
yourself?
I didn't make a plan because I knew that we were going to be watching this dog.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to have to cancel plans, and I didn't
Sure.
really know. So I was like, maybe I can just like plan a few.
and then just have your own time.
And
kind
it
of a
was,
thing.
and it
Yeah.
did not work out. It worked out that I was constantly. I turned into we have a crazy neighbor that has a dog, and she talks to the dog all the time.
Sure.
Like
sure.
literally.
She has full combos. Yeah.
Well, she doesn't have a neighbor, or I'm sorry, she doesn't have a significant other or a roommate.
yeah. So she
So
just
she'll
has.
just be like, Cassie, we need to hurry up because I need to go
Cassie,
home
I told
and
you I
change."
need to change.
I told you 15 minutes ago, Kat. What is taking you so long? And,
She
we're
does.
just like,
Every
like,
time we see her and she's
No, but
talking to her,
Cassie
she's like,
couldn't
well,
be
then you
like-
know about Cassie. And Cassie, tell her. And we're like, she's a dog.
yeah. And also, like, Cassie's like fine. Like,
Yeah,
has
Cassie's
never done
100% chill.
anything to
No.
me, to anyone.
No, and she's like, Cassie's got a horrible temper. She'll bite. And Cassie's like,
yeah. Cassie's never bit anyone.
No.
But it's just hilarious because she has all these like things she's made up. Oh, there you go, Cassie. That's just rude, Cassie.
And Cassie's like
And-
a fucking dirtle dog that's like hasn't even moved.
But I've turned into that.
Yeah.
Like
Are
in
you
the
that
house,
now?
like I turned into that weird aunt who you don't know their rules and
Yeah.
stuff. For some reason, you feel like you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm the wicked witch. These are the spoiled stepsisters.
Yeah,
and I'm
for
like,
sure.
I'm like, look who it is. Dog. Like the
Oh,
dog's
there
name.
he is.
Yeah,
you
I'm
think
like-
you can come into my house and slurp up my water?
yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, you're a crazy guy. And then he'll be good. And I'll be like, yeah, that's good.
Oh,
That's
wow.
good.
What are you doing? What's the ruse?
Yeah.
What's the game?
But I talked to a lot of dogs.
Okay.
And I played a lot of chess.
Okay.
And I watched a lot of documentaries.
Oh.
A lot of comedy specials.
Sounds like
and
a
the
really
entire
good time.
show Tiny House Hunters.
Okay.
From like 1998.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, let's hop into some melting
pot.
ponds.
This is so nice. Internet Citizen asked, how much did you miss Delman? He's the cutest. I did miss him a lot. I really did.
I couldn't tell on my end.
Okay. That's not true at all.
Well, the difference,
the difference is I was like in it. I was like, we're playing 24/7. There's pool. There's shopping. There's this.
I couldn't help but be like, you got that going on. And then the girl whose dog we're watching, she's like, on a beautiful beach vacation.
Yeah, and Delman's
she's sending
like,
me all of
I'm
them,
sitting
and
in front of an AC unit watching
like,
horror
day
movie
6,
documentaries.
You know, like carving it into the wall, like what I would do to be busy right now. You know.
No, it was. I mean, it was very fun. I of course missed you. Duh.
I felt like that kid in junior high who's like more into the girl than she is, and it's like, hey. How's it going? Hey,
you kept saying like, call me if you get bored, and I was like, I don't have time to think.
Well,
Like,
I don't know how to tell you,
breathe.
but it's like, because I feel like normal people would normally call their significant others like at least once a day.
Sure.
And like if they're away, but I feel like we're just kind of like busy. So normally it's like we text and that's it. But I was like, I couldn't do anything. And my sister also was like, everyone had a lot going on.
Sure.
Because trust me, I reached out. I went in the deep logs. I'm
You're
like,
Rolodexing?
I'm texting
like,
people from
hey,
college.
Jason,
What's
second
up?
grade.
Yeah. This still your
is
number?
crazy.
Crazy. COVID was nuts. We should catch up. Anywho,
He's like,
I can't leave my house. If you want to FaceTime and have a beer, I can do that. But
no one wants to FaceTime and have a beer.
Come on, man. I almost just started going live online, but
oh, I'm so glad that wasn't the turn
that's
you
what
made.
I was doing when I was doing the COVID. When I was in quarantine, I would just like go live on Instagram.
And you're like, all right, I'm just here. Hanging
Yeah, and I'd
out.
be like,
yeah.
how's it going?
Yeah,
And then I was
good
just
for
like,
you.
what is this? You
It's
know?
an interesting
It needed more of
journey.
a plan.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
anyway.
You're like, I'm going to play my banjo if you guys are cool with that.
I did, like, the minute you left, though, like, when our neighbor was over, she was like, so what's the deal with these bagpipes? I'm like, hold on. Mom's gone. And I started, like, playing the bagpipes in the apartment.
You would just kept texting me the weirdest things. Like, there was, like, just you just texted me a picture of you and your lederhosen.
Well, you challenged me that they wouldn't fit.
I didn't challenge you that they
fit,
wouldn't fit.
baby,
I was like,
like
I
a
don't.
glove.
Okay. But also, I was like, what is happening?
My
Like,
sister asked if she could wear them to
Got it.
Oktoberfest, and they told me they want to go back.
Okay, good.
And then I was like, well, my sister's obviously smaller than me, but we're both, you know,
Same height.
quite bigger Scandi
People.
Frisian people.
Yeah.
And so I just want to see if I could get them on, she can definitely get them on.
Yeah,
If I
100%.
can't get them on, good
Yeah.
luck either way. I don't know. They're yours now, but they're mine.
It was
They
just
fit.
a very just random pictures
Well, I thought
of
up when I
lederhosen
bought them when
text
I was
messages.
young. Well, I was also trying to be sexy.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did you try and sext me with a lederhosen pic?
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't work. My guy.
Oh. Why not? A Jew in lederhosen?
Ooh,
That's like the ultimate
well,
rebel.
I don't.
Look at this guy.
We might have to.
Rules don't even apply.
Put him on his Vespa. Watch out, ladies.
With his bagpipes, and this guy's a culture clash.
I'm gonna be honest. That guy seems a little bit insane. I love him.
Not a little bit. lot
Okay,
of
this
it.
is a good question.
Yeah,
Would you want to
I
hear?
want to hop in.
If you were a wizard, would you conjure magic by carrying a staff, consulting an orb, or using a wand?
I do the staff.
I'd have to do this. I'd have to do a wand, honestly.
A wand is a magician or a conductor.
Okay.
A
Oh,
wizard
fair.
is a staff.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, I know Harry's a wizard technically, but I
Yeah.
mean, like, come on.
Gandalf.
He's
Okay.
more of a magician, I think.
No, I think you got to go. I mean, one, I will say,
Staff.
consulting an orb seems like absolute
It's
bullshit.
a lot of work, and that's
so
more
exha-
mental stuff.
Also,
That's like
you gotta carry
spying.
the orb around with you everywhere,
No,
and then
no,
like,
no.
hold on, let me consult it. No,
You
it's
have
wand
you
and
have a
only
guy
wand.
who carries the orb in the backpack.
You're not gonna have a. You have a little man in a backpack with a.
No, there's like a guy that follows you around. Normally, bigger. He's also your protection. He's like an oof, but he carries your orb with you.
I'm sorry. I'm going to be honest. I do not think this is the way to carry the orb.
No, I don't. I'm out on the orb.
I'm out on the orb.
I'm more in on the staff personally.
Yeah, love it.
Because wizard, I'm more of like a traditional wizard.
I feel like, I mean this kind of like, I feel like you'd leave your stuff everywhere.
No, because I'd use it I'd walk with it.
No.
I'm an old wizard. I'm not like one of these new agey wizards.
You're you right now.
Oh, if it was me right now, I wouldn't do either. I would just kind of do a hand thing.
No, that's not how any of that works. You have to pick wizard staff.
Okay, I'm still staffing. I can use it
Good for you.
as a staff. I
Good for
can
you.
look really cool. I can put my arm on it. I might put a beer koozie on the staff.
Okay.
So then I
got a fan. I got a beer koozie on my staff.
I got a symbol.
I got some jingle bells just in case we want a tambourine.
I
This
got
baby.
a funny honker horn.
Oh man, it's like move out of my way. I got my staff.
Yeah.
Honky honk.
But I would lose a wand. I'd break a wand.
Yeah,
I'd get
that's
made
so
fun of for
real.
the wand.
Yeah, but I feel like you
So,
could hide that in your pocket, so people would be like,
Yeah.
You are going to be very noticeable with the staff. If you're walking around with the clunk and staff, everyone's gonna be like, "What's with the staff?"
Not
And you have
here
to
in
be like,
LA. They'll be like, "Sweet staff, dude. Where'd
no,
you get that?"
man, no way.
I have a friend who came out
We
as a
do
wizard a
have
few
a
years
friend that
ago,
came out as a
and he
wizard
has
a
a
few years
staff,
ago.
and no one butts their
Yeah.
head at all. They're
Yeah.
just like, that guy
You're
has a
right.
staff. So.
Okay, well, I think people know him a little bit, and they're like, "Oh yeah, he's a wizard." Yeah. Okay. No,
Either
you're not
one.
wrong.
I'm just saying, like, if you're living in LA, I think you can get around with a staff.
Cool.
Because mine's going to be more like a walking stick. It's not going to
It's
be
gonna
like.
have a koozie on it.
Well, yeah,
and
hell
a
yeah.
personal
They'll be
fan.
like, that guy's prepared.
And a tambourine.
That guy has a good
and,
story.
That here's a strip for your matches, so I
Yeah.
can light a little pipe.
No.
You can have a pipe in the top.
I'm going to have. That's my dream,
Yeah.
actually, because Gandalf, I didn't realize that, but there's a pipe that fits
Yeah.
into his.
Yeah.
Dude.
Okay. I actually like this for you now.
Because we
I
both
really
already
do.
have walking sticks that we found
Yeah, we
in
do.
Yosemite, and we bring them camping with us, so that would just become my
It's
staff.
just the thing now.
Because
love
I remember when we were at the poppy fields at the California poppy
it.
reservation.
The California Reserve. Yeah.
Yeah, reserve. That's
Yeah.
it. There was a ranger that worked there, and he had this like
Yeah.
incredible stick, and it was a beautiful walking
Yeah.
stick, and he was like probably in his 70s.
I've never been jealous of a
Very
walking
wise,
stick.
me either. And I was like, and it was literally like everyone's like, and I'm like, it's a nice stick, man. Like I'm like,
Yeah, you were into
man. I was
it.
like, where'd you get that stick? Well, he's done a lot to it.
Yeah.
And he's like, when I was like 15,
Yeah.
he's like, I was hiking and wherever, and I found this stick, and he's like 70 now.
It was
He's
like Massapequa or something.
yeah, and he's like, it's been everywhere with me, and he's showing like he's done carvings. He's had other people done carvings. He like has done. It's
Yeah.
like a piece of
It was
him,
really cool.
and it was awesome. And so if I was
Looking
a wizard,
back, Del,
Yeah.
100% that man might have been a wizard.
yeah,
I
staff
think,
for me.
Okay, I'm still going wand. I think we can both call bullshit on the orb.
Yeah, orb
Great,
is out.
love that.
Orb
Love
is
that
out.
for us.
Orb is out.
Richard Reyes I's response was, or question was, since aliens have been confirmed real, what creature is next to be exposed? I know this. I know this with every
does that
fiber
even
of my
mean?
being. What creature?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, we now know that they're aliens, they're real, and yada yada. And
Yeah.
so they're trying to say, like, okay, what do we think? Is it going to be like Loch Ness or Bigfoot
Well, they're
or
not
yada
saying
yada?
that there's aliens.
Sure.
They're like, from what I heard,
Ah.
that guy had never seen the bodies. He had only seen some of the
Evidence
wreckage.
of? Okay,
Yeah.
sure. So here's what I think,
So
too.
and so for me, it's like, and I've heard a lot of this stuff. I've already talked about one of the times I brought up one of the alien races, and I got someone mad at me that I offended them.
Okay.
Probably because they're part of that alien race.
Sure,
I'm just kidding.
sure.
But they didn't confirm anything. All they confirmed is there's things that we don't
Tillman,
know.
Okay. All right. Look, I'm going to go
Until I
along
see
with
a
the
little
question.
Mars attacks,
I don't think you want
weird
to.
brain thing in an orb, then I've seen a UFO. Even my friend
I've seen a
reached
UFO.
out, texted me, because we saw one like that guy's talking about that was going nuts.
Sure.
And so I don't know though. Like I don't see a world where a Bigfoot is real, and if so, like I'm not really afraid of it. Like I think that
No one's asking if you're afraid of it. They just go, what creature do
I'm
you
not
think
afraid
is
of
next
it.
to be exposed?
I'm not afraid of it.
No
and
one's
I'm not
asking.
afraid of the Loch Ness Monster anymore. And I'm not afraid of UFOs. I'm fine. And when I was alone, I didn't watch a lot of documentaries, and I didn't have a near remission panic attack trauma and have to call my therapist who's on vacation. But it's fine, okay? Because I've known this whole time they were real. Okay, Dr. Jean? I told you since day one they were real. And the puppet didn't work when I was a kid. It didn't work. She tried to use it to get him. And I'm like, listen, that's your hand in the puppet. I'm afraid of aliens. I'm afraid of Bigfoot. We need to get to the bottom of this.
Okay, I'm just going to say right now, I do think the next creature to be exposed is dragons.
No,
look.
I wish.
Hey, no. Look, the tiny arms of the T-Rex, it just doesn't compute to me. What that was they were bones going into a massive cartilage of wings.
Oh, but you're
like
saying,
that's without a shadow.
But
Sure,
you're
the
saying
wings
that they won't be
deteriorated.
alive.
No,
that
no,
we'll
they're not
just
being
have
alive,
found
but I
that
think
they
that we're
did
going to see
exist?
evidence of, some of the dinosaurs were in fact dragons.
That's fine.
And that's just a
Yeah,
fact.
that's cool.
Again,
I
the
don't
tiny
believe in
arms
the-
don't make any sense. I think
The
there was a
fire
massive
breathing
cartilage
doesn't make
wings.
sense.
Truly that. There's a lot of things that I really do feel
That'd be
like
so cool,
there's been
though.
dragons in a lot of different lore for years and years and years and years and years and years.
Of course.
Dragons from like
Yeah,
and
that's
almost
true.
every single
They cross all of them.
they cross all of them in almost every single culture and almost every single timeline. Dragons have
like
been
they
a
said
thing.
in Game of Thrones, like, I mean, there might not have been many, but if you see one dragon,
That's what I'm
that
saying.
shit's going.
That shit's going-
That's going all
that's
over.
it.
It's
So-
like there's dragons. There's Jesus.
Sure.
They're like on the same kind of
Yeah,
level
okay.
of like people like this guy's doing stuff.
Yeah.
That chick has dragons.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
Bigfoot. He has a pretty. People know him.
I don't really care
Yeah.
about those, but I'm just saying I'm waiting for there to be proof of dragons. You could get on board.
I could see that they prove that unicorns exist.
Okay. That's enough.
Like they're gonna.
I think we all know it's gonna be unicorns exist.
They're gonna be in Iceland and they're gonna be like dig up
You're
one
like,
and they're
"Oh,
like,
this is crazy."
This skull has a horn.
Okay.
It must be unicorn.
Yep. There it
Because
is.
that makes sense to me. Like, yeah, okay, I could see a horse growing a horn.
Unicorns haven't transcended all the different ones. Dragons have.
The unicorns
There's always
have.
been
Yes,
in
they
every
have.
society. Dragons have been
Scotland's
in.
national animal is the unicorn.
That's fair. That's very fair.
And
all right.
I'd like a Pegasus. I don't see it happening.
I don't see that happening.
I don't.
At all.
I don't.
That
see,
one is
I
fully
see.
out.
I don't see dragons happening because, like, I don't know the fire breathing part. No, but if you want a dragon, they got dragons.
They got dragons.
Komodo
Sure.
dragons are
Okay.
still going
That's
right now.
fair.
Currently,
Yeah, that's fair. No, I mean, again, I don't know if it's
Loch
gonna be fire
Ness
breathing
is
or
out.
whatever.
She's not real.
Nessie's been spotted so many times.
Yeah,
still.
she's out. She's out.
I don't know. I think that was a great question, and
unicorn.
Delman wants
Unicorn.
unicorn. I desperately want dragon,
Dragon.
and I think dragon. I want dragon. K Mary 0703 asked, book character that is your heart. Either they're you or they just speak to you deeply. Do you have one?
A book character
Yeah.
that speaks to me deeply.
Yes, it speaks to you deeply.
No, not really. I've kind of always
Whoa.
felt like I.
Do you feel underrepresented?
Yeah, I mean, I've always felt like a strange. I've always felt
underrepresented?
like a weird person because, like, right when you start to feel like, oh, that's me, like the comedian is always the trickster, or he's always whatever, you know. So it's like, no, mine comes with love. I'm not trying to screw anyone over. I'm not trying to pull the wool over anyone's eyes.
Well,
so.
I feel like maybe you might have to write a book just so you can feel represented as a character and as a person.
But then that's my other struggle.
Do you have any like television TV show? Do you have any TV show characters that you think are, that would most commonly relate to me?
I guess for me, and this is really sad, and this is not real now that I look back on it, but when I was in high school, Adam Brody's character from the OC,
Whoa,
Seth Cohen,
there you go,
was one that like,
You
but
heard
I
it
was
here
young
first.
and dumb,
Sure.
but it was like we were into the same music. I liked that emo Rooney stuff.
There he is.
His mom wasn't Jewish, but his dad was, which was like very similar to me.
This is why
Christmas
representation matters.
No,
guys.
yeah, he celebrated Christmas, which I always celebrated.
Okay.
It was like, and obviously I really liked Adam Brody. We had similar hair. He was Jewish. And so it's like, exactly, representation matters. The only problem with it is because we don't have enough representation, all of the Jewish kids would fight the next day at school of who was that character. And I'm like, it's definitely not you, AJ.
I'm obviously Adam Brody from the OC. It's me.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's not you. It can't be you.
I cut my hair just like him.
Yeah.
I'm wearing his sweater from
I have a
Quicksilver.
California flag on the wall right now.
Oh, no.
Yeah. My dad's a real estate agent who used to surf when he
I've
was
never
growing
even
up.
thought about that. No,
Yeah.
it's sad. I mean, I've definitely had
But that was
characters.
the only one.
That's beautiful.
Or
I love
any of
that.
like the old Jew character, like Woody Allen. I mean, Mel Brooks. Like
Sure.
or Gene Wilder. Like you could see.
You could feel
You
the
could
energy.
feel the. You
yeah.
could feel the heritage and be like, that's my grandma. That's my Uncle Howard.
Sure, that's interesting.
You know, and so
Yeah.
that I never felt unrepresented, but as a younger person doing it, and then now someone would be like Seth Rogen, but like. That
Still no.
it's not because we're not similar enough. I mean, he's
Yeah.
into his own things and I'm sure we'd be friends, but also it's hard when it's like he's literally getting greenlit to do all the stuff that I wish I could do.
100%.
So it's like it's a different thing, you know.
But as far as a book character, no.
As far as a book character, Harry Potter. Yep.
Absolutely, 100% Draco Malfoy.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I would say that's a
I'd
very
say,
similar
yeah.
thing. It's so sad.
I'd say Horton.
As in, here's a who?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
He is a sweet boy.
I know.
That's what it is. I get it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I grew up with like female protagonists and stuff that definitely I think shaped me. You know, like I love Jane Austen, everything, and I think that she wrote women super well and super heady, and and there was a bunch of other people that would get written super well that I would love. And to that point, there's like a bunch of like male characters that I would be like, oh, I love this. Ursula Le Guin wrote a bunch of stuff that like kind of formed me on like my opinions of that, but I don't know if I've ever had a book character that's been like, this is so me.
Yeah.
Even like, you know, like even in like weird series that I read of like sci-fi fantasy stuff where the woman is like
Are we
coming
about
into
to write
her own.
books?
And I know.
Yeah, we could.
Where
People
the
would
woman's
read
like
'em.
coming into her own and being like, you know, I don't know, kicking ass and taking names. I'm always been like,
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know if that would be me. It's also like a real unfortunate thing, especially in TV. There were a few characters that growing up I did really relate to, and it was like Natalie Portman in Garden State and things like
everyone
that.
had yeah.
But the difficulty with that is that it definitely did pigeonhole the like manic pixie dream girl.
Yeah.
You know, but for people outliers that are kind of weird and
Yeah.
quirky and whatever,
Yeah.
it would be like, oh, but I do relate to that. Like I do relate to
Exactly.
like having those feelings and doing those things and being a little different than everyone else. But then they're like, but those are manic pixie dream girls and you should hate those too. And I'm like, but also maybe there is. And
Yeah.
honestly, to date, I haven't really seen many characters that I fully 100% relate to. You know who I might be most is Megara from the movie Hercules in Disney.
Whoa. Whoa. But yeah, not books,
I mean,
but whoa.
No, but I mean, it's like
Yeah.
sarcasm and shit like that. It always comes off bitchy and weird, and like funny always comes off like I'm funny to accommodate your feelings instead
Right.
of funny to just be funny.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's a tough one. I'm trying to think if there's any. I'll probably come back to it and go like, oh my
Be
God,
like,
maybe
yeah.
this
Yeah,
person.
no, like even we started a book recently, I can't remember, and like literally the guy in that, I'm like, this is just me.
Yeah.
But people from the same heritage, like, I mean, there's obviously why sometimes there are
connections in that way.
Yeah, things that some people might call, well, that's just racist. And you're like, yeah, but it's based on something somewhere sometimes, you know? And it's like, so I meet a lot of Jewish people. We suffer from a lot of the same things.
Sure.
You know, we all have anxiety. The weed works for all of us.
Most of
we
us
all
have anxiety. Yeah.
You know, like we're always having stomach issues.
Sure.
None of us can have dairy. The sun is our enemy. You know, like we all use comedy to cope. Like, I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah.
So you're always following one of these characters and you're like, oh, this is me. And then they turn into like Larry David or Jerry. And you're like, that's not me. I'm not narcissistic.
I'm not mean.
I'm not nasty.
nasty.
I'm not mean.
Yeah.
I'm not wanting people to
and
lose.
It is.
I'm
it's
not
so
catty.
tough. I think that like, again, I think that's also why maybe we should like write stuff out and stuff. But no, I think as far as like having someone
I did
be
read the
who
biography of Harry Houdini.
Okay, and
maybe Harry.
All right.
I do sometimes feel
okay,
like
that's
an Austrian.
to answer your question. No, we don't have it, except for maybe Delman's Harry Houdini. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
This is a really good one. I
Okay.
think this is a good one to end
good
on.
way.
Friendly Toast 52 said, nothing but many thanks. Growing up, y'all showed me it was okay to be different. Thank you.
Yes, it
See,
is
that's
okay.
really nice.
Yeah.
It is okay to be different. Sure, you're not going to have any book characters that you can
Yeah.
attach to.
Nope.
And you might think that
Gotta
you're
make
Harry
the book.
Houdini.
Yeah.
But I think that's really so sweet. And I'm so grateful. Thank you very much for the compliment.
Yes.
Obviously, it is okay to be different because, you know, come on.
I'd say it's better. The hardest part with being different is like not being able, like for whatever reason as humans, like I feel like we constantly have this need to be accepted.
to
and
label, to feel
well,
in the same zone as people. Yeah, all
yeah,
those
like
things.
everyone needs a few things in their life. And one of those things is community. Without
Mm-hmm.
community or a pack or whatever, a family, we don't work the best. Like you need
Sure.
someone to go to that you know is going to have your back no
Yeah.
matter what. You need that. And whether it's your friends, your chosen family, whatever it is. And so that's really hard when you are different to find that.
When you're in a bit of an outlier.
yeah, because
place.
it's like
yeah.
I'll call some of my friends up and I'll just tell them my thoughts and like, that's so weird. I've never had a thought like that. And you're like, you've never had a thought like that. And they're like, I have not. And then you're like, I need to, okay, well, I'm still here. And they're like, maybe not be there. And then,
Hey, try not to think about that stuff.
yeah. And then I have other friends and you meet them and then you're like, yes, this is it. So,
We're simpatico.
so you can be weird.
I'm grateful that I'm so grateful that I could be
too.
that person that could facilitate that in your life. You
Yeah.
absolutely can be weird. And
Yeah.
also, what is weird? I had that was the other thing with my
that'll
niece.
be a
because
whole-
she's on the cusp of like 12 and these
Yeah.
really big concepts. And she was like saying weird. And I was like, yeah, but what is normal? And I think I scrambled her brain a bit because she
Yeah.
was like, and I was like, yeah, no, seriously. I was like, nothing's weird, nothing's normal, things just are. And she was like, and I'm like, maybe a thing for a different day. Show me what lipstick
Well,
you
yeah,
want.
that's the problem. I mean, that's the problem is like how like a word only has meaning because we give it meaning.
Yeah, 100%.
So like weird to me,
yeah.
that's weird.
Yeah.
But like weird to like someone who's more status quo.
Sure.
I'm that guy. They're like, that guy's weird because he won't go to work every day and comb his hair.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas like, I'm like, that guy's weird.
Because he has to go to work every day and comb his
And
hair.
he's talking to his dog. You know, like
We have to leave
Yeah.
by 4:45.
Yeah,
I do
exactly.
love her. That weird neighbor that is. I mean, she's amazing in the sense because she does. She has full
She's
combos.
a character. She's Linda's sister from Bob's Burgers.
She is absolutely Gail from Bob's
Yeah,
Burgers.
she's Gail,
There's
but with a
no way
dog.
around it. She
has the same accent.
She does. She has the exact same accent, exact same glasses.
Yeah.
She's perfect.
She's
I
like,
love it.
Yeah, just a deeper voice.
Well, look, we love you so much.
We
Stay
love you so
weird.
much.
Stay cozy.
Yep.
I'm so glad to be back so Delman can live a normal and beautiful
Yes.
existence. Thank you so much for your questions as always and even your sweet comments.
Yeah.
We love you so much.
Thank you for the donations. I will get to those. This was thrown together because Lee just got home.
I just got home, baby.
But we saw them. They're amazing. If you are wondering how you can help and you're like, I feel bad because I can't give any money, that's totally
worry
fine.
about
I
it.
get it. If you could just like leave us a review on iTunes, because we have a like right now, weirdly, like we're getting pretty much 5-star reviews and people are saying nice
is
stuff.
so nice.
It's really nice. But like if you could leave a review, that helps.
Yeah,
we're
reviews
just
help.
trying to grow it. I think we're having Kait come over in the next few days and we're going to sit with her and we're going to like talk about taking this to the next step, which is like bringing on guests, as we were saying.
Fireworks.
Sound noises.
Explosions.
A
4
puppet
dogs.
show, improv scenes.
Yeah. And clapping.
We're gonna have the merchandise. We're gonna have a call-in number. I really want that
I
where
know,
people
Del
can
really
leave
wants a
messages.
call-in
Not
number.
live, but like where they can leave
No,
messages.
yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and so
I love that.
we're gonna get off this couch because I feel like it sucks me in. So
Yeah.
we're gonna get out.
Good for you.
And it's gonna be a lot of fun. Stay tuned.
And if you guys, if there's any book that you have read that you're like, this is so Delman or this is so Lee,
Yeah.
by all means, leave it in the comments.
Yeah.
And also, we love you so much.
We love you so much.
We gather all of our questions at Favorite Cheese on Instagram and my Instagram and all
as
over.
well as cheese at favoritecheese.com.
So slap it on in
We
there.
check them all. And,
We do.
Yeah. So
That's lovely.
thank you for reaching out. Stay stinky.
Stay stinky. We love you.